We're live, yes, as always. Camera issues. To be expected, to be expected. This thing is never fully. Yeah. Oh, man. That's what happens when you're your own cameraman, your own, script writer, and your own everything. You see? So, hello there, beautiful people. I see some of you here. Uh, Pig's Dream, Vegan Pundit, of course, and I think CDA activism is also here, or probably was here because a few days ago he was like, yeah, first, and a cash, awesome, a cash, awesome. All right, so today I wanted to talk about something that I don't know. It bothers me that there's this thing about this divide between the supposed militant vegans and these pick me vegans, the so-called pick me vegans, and each group accuses the other one of doing basically the same thing, of doing this vegan thing for themselves and not really caring about the animals at all, or not, or caring more about people's opinion or something like that. For example, I've been called a militant just because I asked in a Facebook group about veganism. I asked if certain product had some animal component in it. I was like, hey, is this thing vegan, safe to consume or what? Because I wasn't sure. So I went to that group, and one reply I got was, well, depends how militant you are. I was like, what? What does that mean? Like, depends how militant. That's not being militant. That's me being worried and concerned enough to try to figure this thing out and try to avoid consuming any animal product or any animal derived component as much as I can. Like, try to avoid that as much as I can. So it was just an honest question, and this is the response I get. Like, it depends how militant you are. That's not a thing. Now, I do understand that there is a hell of a lot of gatekeeping with certain vegans, and they will say things that, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I understand. For example, some vegans refuse to eat anything with like processed sugar because of the bone char. But bone char, to my knowledge, and I don't know if this is true or not, has been mostly phased out by this point, and most sugar processing plants don't even use that anymore. But I may be mistaken. Maybe they still do. But I don't know. I mean, try to avoid it as much as you can. But they add sugar to basically everything, especially if you live in the U.S. Man, I think even air has sugar in it at this point. Like, they put sugar in everything. So it's like, try to avoid it. I think even salt has sugar in it, by the way. Yeah, still has a little bit of sugar in it. Who's gonna know? So I don't know. It's weird. So to me, it's not militant to ask if something has like some component. For example, some breads have like this weird thing called cysteine, or something like that. I don't know the pronunciation, but it might come from animal feathers, or it may come from even human hair. And it's like, what? There's human hair in my bread? What is that? So, if that makes me militant, being worried about these things, then hey, animals are here with us, not for us. Hey there. Welcome. So, yeah. So to me, that's not being a militant. Now, of course, the image of the militant vegan is the most outspoken and outrageous ones, like the maybe the Tash Petersons, or the probably those direct action people, and stuff like that. The disruptive activism and stuff. They might be seen as militant, or maybe someone who is more loud and outspoken, seemingly opinionated, but really, I don't think that's militant at all. I'm sorry, I just don't see, or even if it is, how is that wrong? We have to remember that what's happening to the animals every second of every day is the most horrible thing that we've ever done and continue to do today with no end in sight. So excuse me if I seem like an unhinged lunatic, but when you find out that you've been paying for these horrible things to happen, what other reaction can you can you have? Like, there's no other sensible reaction to this thing. How can you not go completely bonkers? It's like when the blindfold comes off, it's like the whole world crashes down on you. Now the world is even worse than you thought it was, and you're not the same anymore. For whatever is left of your life, you're not the same. It can't be. It changes you. So of course there's this fire inside of you that you want to do something about it and to warn others about it. And you get shut down because it's not nice to remind people what they're doing, their horrible choices and whatnot. And I don't get it. What's the problem? If I had a time machine and I could talk to the previous version of me, the one who wasn't a vegan, of course I would berate that guy. You think I wouldn't? Man alive, what I wouldn't do to my former self. Man alive, I would, I would go like Mo from the Three Stooges, like, you know, something like that. Like, what the heck? Like, what were you thinking, dude? Really? So of course I get mad. Of course I'm, because every second of every day, this thing is on my mind. Like, I never not think about the animals. And it scares me that some people apparently have the capacity to just, what else? Let people do what they want. No. And some have this weird position that because all of that is legal, it's difficult to convince someone to not do it. So, well, what's even the point? No. No. I know I sometimes say this phrase, I have this catchphrase, eat lentils and shut up. But really, that's the opposite of what a vegan does. We do eat lentils, of course, but we don't shut up about it. Because if you shut up about it, they win. The meat industry wins. Tyson Foods wins. McDonald's wins. And they can't win this thing. They have to lose this thing. I'm sorry. And we need to make this thing happen, this vegan world happen. Will it happen? I have no idea. If I'm being honest, what I think is we're going to completely destroy ourselves before we even do any good. So, I don't know. I think really humans, we do have, that's the saddest part, is all of us have the capacity to do good, but most of us don't want to. So there's no, I don't know. I want to be hopeful, of course. I do remain, part of me is hopeful that we're going to achieve this thing, but part of me is like, you know what? No, humanity is just going to, whatever. We're just going to destroy ourselves and everyone else in the process. Before we're going to get worse before we even improve or anything. But you know what? Who knows? Who knows what might happen? Maybe finally, at some point, people are going to start to wake up in the numbers that they need to. Because right now, really, the percentage of vegans in the world is not really all that much. I don't think there's many vegans percentage wise. Of course, there's like millions of us, but millions means nothing against billions that are not vegan. So it's like, and also this power struggle is not that just that we are a minority in number, but also in power, because there's not many vegans in like politics or anything like that to actually make these changes happen. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. The fight is so, there's so many little battles in this overall war against this killing machine that we're fighting against, that has all the resources, all the history, all the marketing to continue doing what they do, all the lobbying and everything. And then the people, the consumers, they just, fund this thing because, well, they've been brainwashed. And yeah, I can understand that we've all been brainwashed. We've all been bamboozled by these people, or these faceless companies. But once you understand that, you have to, you have to do something about it. You can't just stand there and do nothing. So animals are here for us, not with us, not for us. Says it doesn't matter how many of us there are if so many of us are silent or panderers. Exactly, yes. We have this problem also. Like there's already too few of us, and then out of the few vegans that actually exist in the world as compared to non-vegans, we have a group. These are the pick me vegans who, they just don't want. Apparently, they just want to avoid confrontation. They just want to seem nice because apparently their logic tells them that playing nice must be better, must be the better option, must be the thing that gets the better outcome and the best results, and you make more vegans playing nice. But that's actually not the case. The meat eater will just think, oh, look, how nice is that vegan? I don't feel judged. I can just do whatever I want. This guy's not going to bother me. Awesome. That's just what's going to happen. You see, but if you berate them, there is an off chance that the person will go home and still think that they're going to hate you. It doesn't matter, but they're going to think, that horrible vegan on the street, I want to prove them wrong. I hate him so much. I want to go online and I'm going to research this thing to see if what they're saying is true or what the hell it is. Oh my god. And maybe they'll realize. I don't know. But the thing is that if we don't make enough noise, if we don't really make the point, we don't drive the point across that this horrible thing that we're doing to the animals is exactly so horrible, how are we going to make any changes happen? If you're just going to stand there like, oh, you do you, it doesn't matter, oh, you want to eat a tuna sandwich every Friday? Of course you can. I love you, person, because you're just eating a tuna sandwich. Innocent. No, not innocent, not good. That's horrible. Like, you have to understand, like, if the person is willing to do everything else for the animals, but they're like, oh, I want to eat some tuna sandwich once in a while, then you have to tell them, okay, well, what's stopping you from, like, not eating this thing? Like, why do you do this? If you're doing everything else already, just do one more thing. That's it. It's just one more thing. And really, let's be honest here, tuna sandwiches, they're completely overrated. They're not that good. Marine animals don't really taste good. Okay? I don't really get the fascination with marine animals to eat them because they taste horrible. Okay? I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. They taste like a block of sea salt. You grab like a block of salt, concentrated salt, give it a big bite. That's what a fish tastes like. It's horrible. It's like you swallow some beach water or something. It's terrible. I don't know how people like that, really, to be honest. But I can understand, like, oh, I like this the taste of, like a steak or something like that. Okay, But fish, crustaceans, they taste horrible. I don't know. Really. Don't even get me started on tuna. Like when I was a meat eater, of course I ate some tuna sandwiches and stuff, but I had to basically bathe them in mayonnaise to like mask the smell and the taste of the tuna, you know, because it was so horrible. So I had to like basically like drenched it in mayonnaise and celery because I couldn't stand the tuna, the actual tuna flavor. So, you know, I'm sorry, it's just what it is. So I don't know, it's weird. So this thing about, let me see, Vegan Pundit says, nothing wrong with different approaches to advocacy to fit the personality and situation. Well, that's a fair point. Not everyone responds to the same thing. Not everyone is going to listen to you if you're too brash or too harsh, or not everyone's going to listen to you if you're like too mellow, and then they're like, yeah, whatever, this guy's like not really convinced, because that's how it looks to me. Like if you're just going to play nice and say, yeah, you can eat some chocolate once in a while, whatever, you don't sound so convinced about the vegan thing. And it sounds like it is a dietary thing and that it is a choice, that you there's no morality to it, there's no ethics to it, you can just do what you feel like and it's okay. So that's where I don't like these so-called pick me vegans, that they make it seem like this thing isn't a horrible thing and an emergency that we need to you know, yeah, to combat, you know. And they're making it seem like it's just some diet that you can try or not, and if it feels like to you, then yeah, go ahead, and if it doesn't, well, it doesn't work, that's it. And no, not at all. And I don't consider, when I wasn't a vegan, I used to consider certain vegans as militant and outrageous and crazy and all of that, but I wasn't a vegan and I didn't want to be. So of course I would say whatever made me feel good at the time, and whatever cognitive dissonance thing made me feel good to not, you know, to continue doing the wrong thing. And that's it. So it was easier for me to say vegan gains is crazy than to say, you know what, eating animals is crazy, so stop it. It took me a long while to reach to that point, but when it finally did, I'm like, you know what, these direct action guys, they're not the crazy ones. Gary Yurovsky, who was in prison many times and also he's been banned from many countries, he's not the crazy one. What's crazy here is what's happening to the animals, not what he did back in his, you know, activism days. Captain Paul Watson, is he some crazy unhinged lunatic? No, he's a freaking champion of the marine animals. The guy co-founded Greenpeace. Of course, now Greenpeace denies that. They don't want anything to do with him because they want to be, you know, they went commercial, and they want to be this, you know, they want to be seen as not extremist, and they want to be seen as cool. So they completely shun away this Captain Paul Watson and completely deny that he actually co-founded the organization. And then he went on to found Sea Shepherd. But now Sea Shepherd also parted ways with Captain Paul Watson. And now they're suing him, trying to not get him to use his own name, because his name is too associated with the Sea Shepherd brand, and they want to rebrand their thing to something else, to be some pick-me organization. So Captain Paul Watson, not a good look for the organization. You see what we're fighting against? This is a man who's been fighting his whole life, decades, for the animals. And the guy went to the open sea and fought against pirates, fought against these whalers. Eh? Like, the guy risked his own life for the animals. That's a real champion for the animals. That's not an extremist, militant guy. That's the most sensible guy there is. That guy's a freaking awesome human. One of the best ever. I don't think there's many humans who can say, hey, I'm a good human. I'd say Captain Paul Watson qualifies as a good human. Not many of us have probably the resources or are willing to go as far as he does, but he's freaking awesome. Him, Gary Yourofsky, all the direct action people, they're fighting this thing the way it needs to be fought. So Vegan Pundit says, not sure pick me vegans would necessarily put it that way though. Some my generalizations can be problematic. Let's not fall prey to a false dichotomy. Well, I don't know exactly what you mean with that, or what's the false dichotomy here. Well, maybe that the like there's two sides of this thing, because obviously there's not two sides. There's many approaches, of course. Debug Your Brain made a video about it, and this is a very good example that there's like this, the outrageous, outspoken people, you know, that type of vegan. Then there's the softer vegans, you know, and then there's like the more assertive one. He says that the assertive type, that's the type that stands their ground, but also is not like too brash or too outspoken or anything. And you're just giving the facts, the logic and stuff. You maintain, you keep your position, you don't compromise, but you also don't go on an unhinged rant like I often do. But let me clarify something here. Yeah, exactly, Vegan Pundit. All sorts of activism are potentially effective, but here's the thing. What's not a good thing is that precisely like these pygmies basically siding with meat eaters in telling the more hardline vegans that they're just being, you know, irrational, and they're being, you know, they're just doing it for themselves. Like we're doing this thing, and you're just doing it to be right. You care more about being right than about doing what's best for the animals. Not true at all. It's because here's the thing, and here's the fact of the matter is that it's not vegans who are right, is that veganism itself is right. We're just giving you the information. I didn't come up with veganism. I didn't invent the thing. So it's not me trying to be right. I just found out about it. I'm telling you about it. So it's the thing that's right, not me. I'm just the messenger. Now the message is what's right. I'm just some guy telling you about it. So this thing about, you just want to be right, no. I don't want to be right. In fact, I wish I was wrong. I wish we weren't executing animals every second of every day for nothing. I wish that wasn't happening. I wish that was all, you know, propaganda and made up. But no, sadly, it is true, it is real, and it is horrible. So, I don't know. And then it's like, you're just doing it for your own ego and stuff like that. No, it's nothing like of the sort, because, like I said, you're just trying to give this information to others. And Let me see. Maybe we are using different definitions of pick me vegans. I think it can be a sneaky way to infiltrate and be a passive advocate in some situations. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with like being kind of passive or something like that. For example, some people are not very confrontational. They don't like these confrontational things, so they feel more comfortable like wearing like a shirt that says vegan or something like that, and that's perfectly fine. And obviously, if you're going to talk to a stranger on the street, you're not going to talk to them the same way you would talk to a friend of yours, someone you know, or a family member. Maybe you can be more, you know, yeah, like nicer to them because you know them, and you just want to have a conversation with them. And maybe it is easier to just go off on any stranger because you don't know them. You're not probably not going to see them again, so well, who cares? So yeah, there might be something about it that makes it easier to do that. But let me tell you, it's the same. You talk to your family or friends, and it's like they really don't get it, and they're worse than a stranger because they are not attached to you. Maybe they'll listen to you a little bit more, and your relatives and your friends don't want to hear about it. So I don't know. They're like, oh no, this guy bad because they know you. And we have these things. We humans have these things where we don't want to look like a fool in front, especially in front of anyone else, and we don't want to be proven wrong in anything. So whenever we have something that we believe in, and this is like a deep rooted belief, and someone else comes with evidence to something contrary to your belief, the first instinct is to fight against all that, even with all the evidence, because you don't want to look like a moron. And this is something that is natural to all of us, I think. Nobody wants to look like a fool. Nobody wants to be seen as ignorant. And that's why maybe when meat eaters, some meat eaters have these, they lash out at vegans and stuff like that. They act out. And I can comprehend that because, of course, I was one of them. And I used to do that. I used to be like completely crazy and like, no, well, don't call me a murderer and I'm a good person, whatever. But of course, you know. So it took me a while to realize how I was wrong and why. And I used to even hate Earthling Ed. Like, who hates Earthling Ed? Like, well, I did. You know, just because he was saying something that was true, but I didn't want to believe. So I wanted to disprove him that I would hate watch all his content until a point where I was like, you know what, Ed, I don't have any counter against you. So I cannot do anything. I have no moves left. I thought I could debunk veganism at some point. So I hate watched Ed Winters and other vegans just to prove them wrong and attack them and stuff. Turns out, after a while, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can't. There's no point. There's no valid point against veganism. So Pig's Dream says, I really like the Militant vegan. Wish he had more English content. Maybe I need to learn German. Ah, yeah, the Militante Veganerin or something. I don't know if I'm butchering the pronunciation, but yeah, she's awesome, Rafaela. I know who you're referring to. Yeah, I wish she did more English content because I don't understand jack squat about German. I don't understand anything. So, I mean, sometimes I even share her content in German, of course. And I'm like, I leave comments like, hey, I don't understand anything she's saying, but I agree with her. Ah, man. She looks fun. She looks awesome. But of course, she's like one of these militant type who, you know, some people think that, oh no, she's crazy, she's unhinged, and all that. But she's awesome. I think she's great. I don't know. like anything else, because she does a lot of stuff like with music. She does like rap videos and stuff, and I think she's also like a model and stuff like that. Some people have been kind of drawing some jealousy or something like that, and they don't like her because they're saying like she just wants to be famous or something like that. And that may be the case, but I'm thinking there's nothing wrong like being like trying to jumpstart a career in something. If you're helping the animals along the way, that's a great thing to do. How many models or musicians help the animals or something? How many some guy who I actually like very much. This guy told me something about Earthling Ed, like, oh no, Ed is a millionaire. And I'm like, okay, so what's the problem there? Like, he's a millionaire doing something that's actually good. So what's the problem with that? That's another mentality that we need to do away. This thing that, oh no, vegans can't make money because man alive, what is that? On the contrary, we need to make money, as much money as we can, to not work for non-vegan organizations, to set ourselves free from all of that, and to dedicate our lives to the animals and make this thing happen even faster. So I don't understand why is this resistance and where this backlash comes whenever a vegan gets too famous and seemingly rich. Then they're like, oh no, this guy's just making money, so bad, whatever. I'm like, who cares? How many millionaires do you know have made their millions by doing something good for anyone else? Really? So I don't know. Like, I don't know where the backlash comes from. But yeah, I mean, this thing about these militant vegans and doing it for themselves or trying to just seem right instead of doing what's right, that's not the case at all. And like I've been saying, I just don't know how else to operate, really, because this thing with the animals is so horrible that there's no other way to do it. I don't know. I cannot play nice. I try sometimes to like be more like, okay, let's, like, if the person is not really aware of all the horrors and stuff, okay, I give them like a opportunity, and I'm like, okay, I explain whatever. I can be nice about it. But after they have the information, after they know what's going on, they're still with an attitude or something. That's when I start to know, like, no, what is this? And I get it. Maybe you get the information. At first, you're not going to have like a reaction. No one really goes vegan in just one conversation. Okay, that's just a lie. Okay, just talking to someone on the street, you're not going to make them instantly vegan. That's not a thing that happens. Okay, some might happen. There might be cases, exceptions. Someone just walking by, they are completely unaware of this thing. They never thought about it. No one actually talked to them about it. They talk to a vegan and they're like, oh wow, this thing makes sense, and maybe they do go vegan on the spot. But it doesn't happen very often because they still need to go home, process all the information, do some research for themselves, and see all of this thing, and get more opinions from other vegans and other people as well, and make their own minds. So what really happens is no vegan actually makes other people go vegan. We just give the information, and people process the information however they do, and they do with it whatever they do with it. Some eventually go vegan, some don't, some do something else. But it's not like one vegan is going to make you a vegan. What makes you a vegan is the information that you're getting, not the person telling it. And that's the thing. So it really comes from the person. It's a decision that you make for yourself. It's not someone making you. That's the other thing. Like, no, stop trying to force it down my throat or something. Forcing what? Forcing you to take a hard look at yourself and your choices? Sure. But forcing you to eat chickpeas, no, no one can. No one can force you. Only you can prevent wildfires. So only you can, you know, make the decision for yourself. It's up to you, it's up to the person, really. So that's the thing. So really, it doesn't matter if you yell at them or you just play nice, give them a hug, something. They might still not go vegan, they might go vegan, you never know. There's no actual statistic. This is another lie that there's floating around. That no, because I understand that it seems logical that being nice gets you better results. It seems like it, but it's not really the case. It's not the case. There's no statistic that actually says, yeah, being nicer gets more people to go vegan. That's not a thing. There's no one statistic that shows this. Now, there's some weird statistics by Funalytics apparently. I do not trust them, of course, but that they say that the thing that gets best results is actually internet posts and social media posts and videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, so social media gets the best results, not really street outreach or the Cube of Truth or the or other stuff. That stuff, the direct action and stuff like that, the protests, doesn't get as much results as just posting it online. That seems kinda weird to me. It might be true, I don't know, but it seems kinda weird given the fact that people can just scroll, up and down, whatever, and dismiss any information. So it seems to me it's kind of weird in this short attention span generation that we have. This TikTok generation of didn't read too long, didn't read. It seems to me it's weird that social media posts that you can avoid get you better results for this vegan thing. I don't know. I don't really know. I've had my Instagram account for a while now, even longer than my YouTube, and not one person has said to me, "Hey, I just discovered your social media thing and I went vegan because of it." No one has done that. Of course, that's just my anecdotal evidence, so don't take it really all too serious to mean anything. And in fact, people have told me the opposite. They've told me, go outside, do that. This social media thing, posting memes about it, or posting whatever, writing something on Instagram doesn't do anything. Go outside and stuff like that. But I'm guessing these are just, your typical trolls. Whatever you do, they're going to tell you to do the opposite of that. Haven't you noticed? That's the other thing. These trolls tell you to do anything else, anything but the thing that you're doing. They see you on Instagram, they say, don't do this. Go to the street, talk to people, or go to whatever, the capital or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, yeah, the trolls are contrarians. Yeah, they tell you to do the exact opposite thing that they see you doing. If they see you doing street outreach, they're like, dude, but go online. Or, if they see you online, they're like, dude, what are you doing in your own house? Go outside. And, and if they see you talking to, the regular consumer people, they're like, no, go to the corporations, go to the politicians. What are you doing here talking to me about this thing? It's not my fault. They're the ones who sell me these animals. I mean, I buy them with my money, but it's not my fault. I just give them all my dollars. I just give them my hard-earned cash. Not my fault. That's amazing. Amazing reasoning right there. So they'll tell you to do the opposite of what you're doing because they don't want you there. Yeah, exactly. They just don't want you there. They just don't want to deal with anything. So, of course, they hate it when they see vegans in social media, when they see us on the street, when they see us uh, anywhere. Maybe in film, TV, whatever, even probably video games. Who knows? Who knows? Like there was this thing, this horrible Resident Evil show. I don't know if anyone here is a fan of the Resident Evil video games and or movies and TV series, but there was this Netflix show. It was terrible. Okay, yeah, the show was awful, and we all knew it was going to be horrible. It only lasted one season, to the surprise of no one. But one guy making a review of this show, one of his complaints was that these teenage girls were vegan. And like, of course, these woke teenage girls, of course they're also vegan because these vegans. And I'm like, you know what? Actually, that show was terrible, but that veganism, awesome. So if you're going to showcase animal rights and veganism, that's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations on the Resident Evil series team for doing that. Of course, it didn't do much because people hated the show. Even I hated the show. But of course, if you're familiar with, or in case you're not familiar, Resident Evil, the main thing is that there's these horrible experiments being conducted by this terrible organization called Umbrella. And this Umbrella Corporation, they are in everything, basically. They're this huge conglomerate, and they have pharmaceuticals, appliances and everything. They have a bunch of divisions, just like any other conglomerate in real life. And they did these horrible experiments in some remote mountains, and they conducted this thing, and they injected some viruses onto humans and also animals. And they mutated these animals and these humans with these viruses and stuff. So it's a horrible thing that they did. And if you think about it from a vegan perspective, Resident Evil is more horrible than it was if you're not a vegan, because it's like even the animals get this horrible treatment, and they're a victim too of this thing. So to showcase that on a TV series, to me that was a good thing. Obviously, let me see. Akash says at Richard, I think a strict pick-me vegan definition would be someone who would actually change their moral position just to feel validation. Yeah, or someone who would probably compromise a little bit about not only themselves but also the animals in the process, because it's someone like to not seem confrontational. They would like validate the other person, like, oh yeah, you know eat that tuna sandwich on Fridays. Yeah, well, that's fine, or something like that. They're trying to seem cool, and in that process, sadly, they are betraying the animals because they have to think of the victim here, who is the animal. And the animal doesn't want you to eat tuna sandwiches on Fridays or any other day. And so that's the thing. And this pick me thing, I don't know. It's like, and by the way, I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to make a video. It's going to be one of my, usual comedic type videos. Ah, man. Okay, so animals are here with us. Says, I have been pick me in the past, and I felt disgusted with myself. Yeah, because you don't want to seem like a bad person or anything. And some people do think that, well, if I'm nice, there's a better chance that they're going to listen to me and have this conversation and stuff. There might be some validation to that, of course. But one thing is being nice or not being like an unhinged lunatic. And another thing is to validate people eating meat or something. Like, no, you have to draw a clear line and say to them, this thing is not right at all. It's not right on Mondays. It's not right the rest of the week either. So you need to, meatless Mondays? No. Meatless every day. That's the only thing. And I get it. It seems like extreme. It seems like it's too much. But it only seems that way before you do it. But once you go vegan, you realize how dumb it was of you not to do it. You realize how easy it is. And you realize that, hey, you don't actually die from protein deficiency. How about that? So it turns out that that person who told you that they have a friend who has a cousin who has a third cousin who knows a guy who tried veganism for 2 days and almost died is lying. Who knew? Who knew that was just a cop out? Everyone. Everyone knew. We have to represent the seriousness and urgency. Exactly, we do have to represent the seriousness and urgency of the situation because it is a serious matter. When you think about what the animals go through, you cannot just be like, oh yeah, whatever, you do you. No, you do you. No. By you doing you, you're causing this horrible thing to exist. So we need to, make it a thing of the past, this animal massacre thing. So I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to be an unhinged, crazy guy like me, but more on that. That's also just a character that I play for, comedic purposes. I don't think I would be an unhinged, crazy guy if I actually did the outreach thing. I would not go like a gah or something when someone tells me that they eat meat or something. Oh man. Oh man. That was just a joke. Okay? Oh man. Oh. But it's fun to think about it. And that jokes, yeah, exactly. Gah. That comes from me. Picture this. Like picture Earthling Ed. He's been doing these table talks, on the street and university campuses and stuff for quite a while now. So imagine all the anger within. Like he must have this accumulated rage inside of him that he doesn't let out. But just imagine that at one point some guy says something and Ed snaps. How would that look like? So that's what I picture. I was like, imagine Ed just completely losing it at some point. like, like, grr, grr. Oh man. Oh man, it would be hilarious. It would be amazing. I maintain that Ed has a punching bag back home. He has a punching bag, and he just drains all the horrible anger, like punching it like "Arr!" after a day of outreach and stuff because you cannot listen to people saying bloodlust and, and that we need to eat meat, otherwise communists might invade us and my god. you know, the things Earthling Ed has to listen to. My bloody hell. That's why I think, man, if I did this thing, how would that go? Like, the first guy who says lions, just gonna be like, eh. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if he stood up and flipped the table. That would be freaking hilarious. Like, whatever. Oh, man. Hawaii's volcano was actually Ed's suppressed reaction. Yeah, something like that. Oh, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Like, if I'm sitting on a table and some guy's like, bloodlust. Or some lady's like, no, we. Indigenous peoples think that rocks have feelings and stuff. I'm gonna be like, girl, lady, what are you talking about? Oh no. So, that's why I think some people are better for this type of content. I'm better here, sitting in my room, just making comedic content for you guys to laugh at or with or cringe. I don't know. And, and that's it. It's better for me to do it this way because I don't know. I don't know if I could stand it out there with people telling me that the circle of life and the Lion King and and that Impossible Burger has like you know some weird component and chemicals and stuff. I have used the pick me vegan approach and have seen influence people, and I have certainly never wavered in my moral stance. But that depends on what you say by pick me. Because what I mean with pick me is some guy that when this is the situation. I'm going to make this in my one of my next videos. Tomorrow, by the way, I have another dear AJ. So if you have any questions for for the episode, anything that would help me write the episode for tomorrow, that would be fun. But I'm going to make one, and it's going to be called. I'm hoping to make it really good. This is the concept. It's going to be called Rise of the Plegans. And you might be wondering, what's a plegan? It's a thing I came up with. It's a new concept. It's basically just a pick me vegan. It's just that to justify me doing a video, I just renamed it. But a plegan basically is someone who goes like approaching someone. Let's say they are approaching someone. This meat eating guy is eating a steak or something like that. He's like, and then you go, sir, please, sir. please, go vegan. And the guy's like, no. And then, of course, the plegan is just gonna go, sorry to bother you, sir. Yeah, please continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Please go on. You're doing fine. In fact, you don't want to go vegan. That's a perfect opportunity for you to become an amazing animal rights advocate because you eat meat, and that makes logic. So that's basically what a plegan is. It's a please go vegan guy. He says please go vegan. The other person says no, and then they have no other thing to go. They have nowhere else. They're like, oh no, this person said no, so I'm just gonna take it. No, that's not how it works. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. So that's basically what I mean with these pick me vegans. They just back down, trying to avoid confrontation, and they don't want to seem like too invasive or anything or too extreme. But the reality is that what's happening to the animals is extreme, and that to me, no action is actually extreme enough. If I'm being honest, I don't think any action or anything you say is gonna be as extreme as the thing that we're doing to the animals every second of every day. So for me, that's what justifies being this militant type. That there's no, and who calls you a militant or an extremist? People who don't want to go vegan, or trolls, or these pick me types who just want to, look good, because that's the other thing. They accuse us of just trying to do this thing for ourselves and not really for the animals. We don't care about helping the animals as much as we care about being right, and having this moral high ground or something. but they're the ones who are doing it for themselves by trying to look like, I know I'm your friend, and trying to seem friendly and trying to be liked by people. They're basically, they don't want to be rejected by others. They fear this rejection thing, and they don't want to, that's the thing. That's what drives them. So as to not be rejected, compromise your position, and then you're like, oh yeah, no, sorry. No, sorry, there's no sorry. I mean, look at Vegan Games. This is a Canadian who never says sorry. He's the only Canadian guy that I know that doesn't apologize for anything. you know, he's like the complete opposite of our Canadian stereotype is. And I think that's awesome. By the way, he did a video, oh no, one of his streamings. The 2 a.m. vegan uploaded this extract from Vegan Games recently about Brett Cooper trying out some vegan products. Man alive, it was freaking hysterical. Like, the things Vegan Games says is like, wow, man. It's like he really goes above and beyond, man. Like, he really goes for the jugular there. He's not humane at all when it comes to absolutely obliterating these meat-eating numbquats, such as Brett Cooper. And man alive, the things he said. Like, some people complained to me because I did that video where the guy at some point is like ogling that lady's, like breast or whatever, and commenting on it. This guy said something about Brett Cooper really that's way worse. So I don't know. Like, my thing is like a mild joke thing. But his things, he just takes it to something else. He just goes to the next level. And I absolutely love it, of course. I think it's hilarious. And I know that some people hate watch Vegan Games, but over time they start seeing the thing, and I know that they go vegan, and I know that he does help the animals. Of course, I don't know, he does have some weird takes and some things I don't approve of or something, but you know what? The guy, I think he's freaking hilarious. At least his internet persona, whatever, is freaking hilarious. He's just sitting there like this with like the hoodie and stuff, just laying back and just like commenting on stuff and challenging everyone to a cage match. That's freaking hilarious. Like, someone just is like, ah, yeah, Gaines, I have you, and then the Gaines is like, yeah, let's go let's go have an MMA match with like official rules and everything. Oh man, yeah, that's freaking great. Oh man. So Vegan Pundit says, I guess I just don't understand what constitutes pick me. I'll have to do more research. Not wanting to be confrontational doesn't necessarily mean you won't still deliver the truth. Okay, so that concept is basically like, there's this thing called the pick me girls. The one who say, I'm not like other girls. And they're just doing it to be liked or noticed by guys or something. So it's the same concept, but oh, hello, B Jokic. So yeah, congratulations, Jokic, on your NBA title, of course. And let me see. So yeah, so these pick me vegans, it's the same concept, but in vegan. Instead of being a girl, like trying to be liked by guys, it's a vegan trying to be liked by non-vegans. That's the thing. I'm not like other vegans. I'm not going to, I'm not going to tell you don't eat meat. I'm not going to tell you don't do this thing. No. You do you. I'm doing this thing, but no, you don't. I'm not going to tell you to do it. And that's the thing. And then whenever they do these talks or something, They back down. As soon as the other person says no, they don't know what to do. They start sweating bullets. They're like, oh no, said no, what do I do? Man alive, what do? You don't take no for an answer. That's what you do. Like, I've worked basically almost all of my life in sales. And I can tell you that in sales, there's no such thing as no. They're gonna have to, you're gonna have to sell the thing that you're selling. So there's no. That's not a thing. So you need to make them, to make the customer or the person buy the product or whatever that you're the services that you're trying to provide. You have to let them see why they need it, and you have to get the point across, and make a good pitch or something. So kind of the same applies for this veganism thing. You have to make make it very clear of what this thing is and why it's needed, and why we all need to do the same thing and be on the same boat here. So so yeah, so that's the thing. When someone says no, you don't take that first no for an answer. And even if they end up saying no, you still need to leave them with something to think about. That's the thing. Still leave them with something. Give them, I don't know, whatever it is, a pamphlet, or if it's some street outreach or something, or give them some card with like a QR code, like I said with the cube thing, but not throwing blocks at people's faces, but just giving them this information or something, some links to some documentaries or some videos or something like that, or giving them all the information. And even if they say no to you, learn to take it. Learn to not be liked, and learn that some people are just not going to like you either way, and they're not everyone is going to become your friend. Not everyone is going to agree with you at first, but that's just the thing. When you're doing activism, we need to remember that Martin Luther King wasn't liked by many people. Malcolm X, these people, they didn't have a bunch of friends and were liked by everyone. They're liked now. They're heroes now. After the whole thing happened, in hindsight, all of those activists look like freaking heroes now, and no one would disagree with that. But at the time of when they were alive and they were doing it, they were seen as terrorists. Rosa Parks, all of those people. So that's just what it is. Nelson Mandela was even in prison. I mean, yeah, he did some stuff that was kind of questionable, but I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like everyone doing activism is gonna look bad doing it at their present time. But after the fact, after the dust has settled, and these changes happen, in the future, they're going to look up to Captain Paul Watson or Gary Yourofsky. Maybe we're gonna have Gary Yourofsky Day or Captain Paul Watson Appreciation Day. Who knows? After they're gone, sadly, they won't be celebrated in their lifetime by most. But after they're gone, and after these changes have happened, everyone will just say, "Oh yeah, they were awesome." And if I would have been born in that era, I would have known better. No, dude, that's called presentism, and that's not true. You don't know if you actually would have been siding with those activists back then, because the society at large wasn't. And you don't know if you actually would have known better or not. Who knows, really? Because we do have this thing called the appeal to popularity fallacy. And sometimes because we just want to to look good in front of others. We just go with whatever the majority says as to not look bad. And we're just gonna go with that. So if one guy says don't eat meat and 10,000 say do eat meat, most people will go with the 10,000 and rationalize that, hey, if more people say that this is good, it must be good. When we all know it's not the case. Even if there was only one vegan in the world and everyone else, the other 7 point something billion of people are not vegan, that one vegan, that's the one who's right. Just because he's just alone in the world doesn't make him wrong. It's not the same as the wrong way driving analogy where the one person is going one way and then, hey, why is everyone else driving the wrong direction? And they were on in the right direction and he was the one that's wrong. That's actually a false analogy. It doesn't work that way applied to every other aspect in life. Because in that one aspect, yes, there was a right way to drive and a wrong way. But in this thing, the right thing to do is what the minority is doing. And the wrong thing to do is what the majority is doing. And it happens many times. It happens in all aspects of life. The majority of people believe that there's some magical, invisible guy somewhere floating about and he has a plan for you and everything and he loves you. But if you don't do the 10 things that he wants you to do, you're going to hell. But he loves you, you know. This entity, you know. So the majority believe this thing, it must be true. You know. Of course, there's a giant bearded man in the sky wearing a robe and sandals. You know, watching over you. So Vegan Pundit says, seems to me just having someone in a group that wears vegan messages, tees, shares food, and answers questions is better than not having a presence at all. Of course. And that's not necessarily a pick-me. That's just someone who is non-confrontational. Maybe they just want to, have a more passive approach. And a passive approach is not wrong, actually. In fact, I would say that wearing like a vegan shirt is very good because it can spark conversation with many people wherever you go. It could be an icebreaker. Anything that helps spread the message, of course, is good. And even if someone is like this militant, outrageous guy or some seemingly pick-me person trying to not be confrontational, if the word vegan and the concept of veganism is being made known to more people, that's a good thing. Even if they don't do anything at the moment, at that precise moment with it, to have that information in your brain does something. It starts doing something with you. It looks like it. But let me tell you a story. It took me more than a decade from the day I found out that veganism was a thing to the day I went vegan. Okay? I spent a decade fighting against veganism and eating all sorts of animal products to my heart's desire. Not caring about any cow, any chicken, any dolphin, any iguana or anything. No, I didn't eat iguanas, but, just naming a cool animal. So... But that's the thing. I didn't care about any animal. And it happened for a decade. But when I found out about veganism, I didn't want to research anything. And it was another era with way less information. And I don't know, I was like more stubborn because, of course, I felt like I had backup on my side because where I grew up in, there was no one vegan around me. So I felt like I had like the like everyone was on my side. So it's weird. So let's see what you guys are saying. Uh-huh. I guess the pick me vibe is something more insidious in its original definition, just ignorant to the actual meaning. Thanks for pointing out the depth of the behavior. Right, vegan pundit. I don't know, like it's just that. It's just that. Like for example, the example of that clip with this lady Billie Eilish when she's talking about veganism and she's like, I'm not like other vegans. I'm not gonna tell you, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, blah. And she goes like this. That's a pick me vegan. She's trying to be liked by people more than she's trying to help the animals. I'm not going to tell you what to eat, blah. What is that, lady? What kind of vegan is that? Let me tell you something. When you go vegan, two things happen. Okay? First, you can't stop talking. You can't shut up. It's impossible. It's impossible to shut up about it. You have to say it. Everywhere you go, I'm vegan, I'm vegan, I'm vegan. you know? Everywhere you go, like, go vegan, that's wrong, you're a murderer. It happens. And the other thing that happens, you suddenly wake up stranded on an island. How about that? Wake up on an island all of a sudden, what the heck happened? What is this? And then you're like with oh man. You're with like Hugo on that island with a polar bear and the smoke and this weird stuff happening. It's like, you're like, what the heck happened? Yeah, you just wake up in an island. That's it. And there's nothing on that island except sand, water, and a pig. That's it. That's all there is. And for some reason you have a knife on your hand. I don't know, in your hand you're holding a knife. I don't know. And that pig, for some reason, starts looking more and more appetizing as the time goes by, apparently. So, that happens. So, it's like, so yeah, so this pick me thing is just that. It's that thing where you're like, no, I'm not going to tell you, don't do this. It's like, I do it for myself, but you don't have to. Like, this is for me. Like, no, it's not for you, it's for the animals. So that's when you lose perspective of what you're doing. So, I don't know. And I think I made a video about the two types of, it's called the two types of vegans, something like that, that you have to be careful of, or something like that. And one of the types was kind of like this pick me type, the ones who go like that they, oh no, you don't have to do anything, I'm just doing this for me and stuff like that. It's like, it's not for you, it's for the animals. So, for example, take me. I don't really like being the center of attention of anything. I don't like the spotlight. I don't like talking to people, meeting new people, or anything like it. I'm a huge introvert. So for me to be doing these YouTube videos and stuff and coming up with this crazy unhinged character and doing this thing where I'm like, oh dear AJ and stuff like that, that's completely out of my natural, yeah, that's out of my comfort zone completely. But I do it because this thing with the animals compels me to take some action. So I'm not like a social media guy or anything like that. But whatever I have to help the animals, I'm gonna have to do. And right now, this is the best thing I can do, I wish I had more resources to do more things, but right now this is the best I can do. And actually, I'm doing this is for because I saw this workshop by Joey Carstrom once, and he said something that really stuck with me. That was, uh, if you don't know how to start or something or what to do, just do what you can with what you have. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll do that. So I just started doing this thing. So let's see what you guys are also saying. You're saying, let's see. Sky Santa. Pick me is people who say you do you. Exactly. Post here, Carson. Yeah, I don't want to post it here. Carson can give you my contact info. Okay, I guess Karen. All right, you guys are getting in touch with each other, trying to, that's cool. It's good to have conversations with everyone, really. Carson, by the way, is such a pick me. Oh my god. He just wants to be liked above all else. Doesn't care about he's like, yeah, he's willing to just completely betray the animals if need be. And the worst is he's trying to look good in front of Garland and his ridiculous farmer friends. What the hell is that? Man alive. And still, the funny thing is, sorry, AJ, I'm going to listen. No, 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 no. I wasn't complaining about that. I'm just saying it's a good thing that you guys are, talking to each other and getting like each other's contacts and stuff and have conversations with. Like that's a good thing. I'm not complaining about it. Uh, to the contrary, I think it's awesome that you guys have like established some connection here. That's great. Makes me happy that you all here, like seeing this live thing and sharing amongst yourself. That's good, and I like it. I hope to see if you ever you guys talk, have a conversation or something. I hope to see those conversations. Oh, he's a self-proclaimed pygmy. Yeah, he is. But then he's like, I don't know, man. He says he's a deontologist, and then he does, and then he says utilitarian things, because obviously his idols are utilitarian. Like, for example, Alex and Peter Singer, and these guys. Rationality rules destiny. They're all terrible people, and those are the ones he looks up to. So and he hates Nilf, or No Injustice Lasts Forever, who is, by the way, an amazing vegan person, one of my idols, and really I think Nilf should have like 10 million subscribers. If you ask me, he's one of the best. But yeah, that's who he doesn't like. So I don't know. Uh, Man alive. Now that's a pick me right there. Someone who, in fear of not being liked, and in his quest of getting to those sweet 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, he'll do whatever. He'll say whatever needs be said to achieve that. Animals be damned. Yeah. He eats clams. He cares more about his health than about the animals. Yeah, sure, man. Sure. There's no data that actually, according to him, there's not enough data to tell everyone not to go vegan. So, what kind of vegan is that? I mean, all the research and the data is there. He knows it. But he's telling people that he's not sure. So, no, let's not have meat be illegal. He hasn't heard of Cuba, apparently. Of course, in Cuba, meat is not illegal for ethical, awesome reasons. It's illegal because it's a horrible, hellish communist dystopia, and they want to demoralize their population and keep them hungry and starving and keep them uh, in need of government assistance so they don't revolt against it. So that's why. So they just give you like a package with like a bag of rice for the month, some meat like product, which I don't know if it really is or not meat or who knows, and some beans or something. They just do a calculation of how much you need and they give you that for the month, and if you want to buy more you have to freaking buy it yourself, and it's freaking expensive. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, you turns out you can make meat illegal and people don't die from it because Cuba exists. So of course, they're being malnutrition and malnourished because the government, as I said, has in place a horrible hellish dystopia. But if it didn't, they would be perfectly fine, the citizens. So everyone can be fine not eating animals. So I don't know. I don't know what else can I say about this thing. I don't know if I made this point across that if I have to choose, who do I like better? Yeah, let's do this exercise. If we had to choose one approach or one style, who would we rather have? Everyone a militant or everyone a pygmy? And I will tell you, I'd rather have everyone be a militant. That's what I'd rather have. I'd rather have everyone be like Tash. That's how my rap says. Better be like Tash. Tash Peterson, she's awesome. And Rafaela, the militant vegan from Germany. Or, well, no, from Austria, actually. She speaks German, but she's from Austria. Uh, so the militant vegan, Tash Peterson. These people with actual fire in inside of them, doing this thing for the animals, really. That's who I want. So I don't want some flimsy kid like go vegan, but hey, no, you said no, 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 no. I don't want some scared guy trying to tell people go vegan, but if you say no, that's fine. No, what is that? If that's going to be your approach, don't do anything, really. Don't even say anything. You're not helping. And we have a saying in Spanish. I don't think in English it exists, but it says, mucho ayuda el que no estorba. And it roughly translates to, it is of much help he who doesn't stand in the way. Something like that. So, if you're just going to say, hey, whatever, you do you. Don't say anything. Leave it to the pros, Just leave the thing to the pros and just eat lentils and shut up. Yeah, that's what you should do. Eat lentils and shut up. Yeah, don't say anything. Really. If that's going to be your contribution, don't do anything. That's why I'm really looking forward. Would you be up to debating on vegans here? But here in like my channel or like your channel or someone else's? Because I don't know, I don't have like that StreamYard thing and that stuff. So my channel, I don't know. I may not do that. I don't know. Maybe along the way. But if someone else wants to challenge me or something, then yeah, I'll go there. I don't know. I'd rather be a guest. Yeah, more comfortable being a guest than a host. I don't know. Because if anything, I can just rage quit and just go Gah! And rage quit, and that's it. But really, I don't know. Maybe I may bring some non-vegan here to talk about something. I don't know. That might happen. I'm gonna see about that StreamYard thing and see what I can do. But yeah, so that's the thing. Who do I prefer? Militant, all the way. I prefer that. If we were going to have two options and you give me everyone's a militant or everyone's a pick me, go militant. Of course, I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'd rather have 10 Captain Paul Watsons than 1,000, uh, reasonable vegans. Oh man, that name has two lies in there. That reasonable vegan. Oh man, it's like the Madison Square Garden, like the Palace of the Three Lies, because it's not on Madison, it's not squared, and it's not a garden. There's no flowers or anything there, so it's like the three lies. So it's basically like reasonable vegan. That's like the two lies vegan, because it's like not reasonable, not vegan. But everyone has their audience and everyone has their own goals and stuff and agendas. So obviously, I can't hold it against him. He wants to do his thing. Sadly, it is perfectly valid. So cannot really do much else about it. But yeah, it would be interesting to have someone here. Who would I invite here? I don't know. Who would I invite to my channel that's a non-vegan? I don't know. I'll think of something. I'll think about it. Thank you for that. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we can wrap it up here. It's been like almost an hour and a half, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have more to say about it. I think I made it perfectly clear my stance on this thing, and the last thing I can say is that no, we're not trying to. If you see me as an extreme militant guy or something or some outrageous guy, I'm not trying to do it for myself or anything. I'm just doing it for the animals, of course, and of course I care about the results and stuff. But you can't just think, oh, it looks like being nicer gets you more results and not have an actual statistic to show for, because that tells me nothing. So I'm going to continue being an unhinged lunatic. So if that's something you enjoy watching, welcome, and tune in tomorrow for another Dear AJ, where we're going to see if actually that, if you've been following that saga, that whole saga with the Dear AJ, we'll see if I finally went to that, to that thing, that therapy session that they wanted me to go to, and sensitivity training or whatever, and let's see if I went woke or if I remain the same or something in between. Let's see what happened. Oh man, or if I'm gonna get cancelled by let's see. So it's gonna be fun, so tune in tomorrow. And as always, like I always say, people, stop hurting animals, start turning veganese. Till next time.